Hello everybody, welcome back to Diecast Desk. Today I'll be making a video on all of my current collection pieces right now in my 1/50th scale equipment collection. So, to start out here, this is my Kenworth T880 dump truck with a half pipe dump back on it. Overall, I like this model. This was my first road truck model. It's very nice and detailed. Good steering as well as good functional features. In this video, I will only be doing a brief explanation on each piece to keep the video short, and if asked for, I will do full videos on a machine in the future. Alright, so on to the next machine. Alright, so the first machine I'll be going over in my 1/50th scale collection is, or the next machine after that, T880 is the 332G John Deere skid loader, or skid steer. I was fairly happy to see when this came out, because this is I believe the largest skid steer that John Deere makes, at least in the wheel configuration. And even though it's not as detailed as I would like it to be, and they didn't paint the rivets, it's still, especially for me who I love the brand John Deere and collect many of their models by Ertl, it's still a good piece to add to your collection, especially if you really do enjoy collecting skid steers. So, and along with that, I bought the 35G mini excavator. So this machine, even though again rivets aren't painted and it's not super detailed, I'm very happy with this casting, especially with the range of motion you get with this machine. It's just, I enjoy it a lot. It has a pivot frame for the stick and boom, and it has everything from tiny details like swing reflectors and very sharp graphics. So that is so far my only mini excavator. Alright, next piece in my collection was one of my first, and that is going to be the Case 580 Backhoe loader by Ertl. So this was one of my first models, and I bought it to get some variety in my collection from other than John Deere. And I would say at first I'm very impressed with this model. It's very clean. The rivets are a little bit smaller on this side, but still large on this side. But there is good range of movement, I would say. One thing I'm a little disappointed about is this is labeled as an Extend-A-Hoe model, but that stick does not extend. So, but still overall, and I also wish these outriggers were more detailed instead of a cast-in frame, but that's beside the point at this point. Steering, it does steer, but it's a solid axle steer, so it's not very realistic. And the loader gets a okay range of motion. You couldn't load a dump truck with it, but it's better than nothing. So that's that. That's the 580. Next on my collection, I'm trying to go fairly by size here. And this will be just construction machines, not forestry. So, anyways, next here is the 310 SL John Deere Backhoe. Now, I love this model. I think, again, you could add additions like painted rivets, smaller rivets, all that sort of stuff, but as far as Ertl goes, this is beautiful. You got a opening engine bay, again, not super high, about the same as the case, range of motion for lifting. But one thing here is, as you can see, these are beefier outriggers that have nice pads and hydraulic rams, as well as this also has a fairly good range of motion for all your digging needs. And this one also has a good steering system, which is more realistic than the case. This was a great load for the tag trailer I have by First Gear. This looks great being pulled behind that T880 that I showed earlier in the video. I have also customized this T880 by putting wire mesh down in there for chain storage. But again, fairly cheap model that will just level up your collection. And I'm sure there's a million of reviews, detailed reviews on this out there. So, yeah. Our next machine is going to be the Komatsu D51EXI. So I got this model because I was looking for a small to mid-sized dozer to add to my collection. Something that would fit on the tag trailer and still just had a good amount of detail and a little bit of variety. So I went out and got this Komatsu. And I can say I am extremely impressed with the quality. 6-way blade, of course, tilts and angles, as well as having a good up and down range of motion. Tracks roll nicely, even on smooth paper. And this going up and down is smooth as butter. This 3-shank gripper. Overall, I think it's a nice addition, especially with the low front hood for better vision. One thing about this that you do have to be careful of is these antennas up here are plastic that could easily be broke. So if you do go out and get one of these, be careful of that. But it has good hydraulic details, even on the back gripper. And even it's small things like the final drive is detailed, and just stuff like that. So this is a very good addition to anyone's collection. Alright, so next we have an Komatsu piece. This is going to be the PC 380 US LC. So this is a very nice small to mid-size excavator. Again, I got this the same time as I got that D51. Just an amazing model again. Everything from the covers that cover the hydraulics for the blade to the detailed color change hydraulic lines. I'm not going to go too in depth on this one because Diecast Mania has a great video already up on it, so I would recommend you all go over and check out him. So yeah, but again, great model to add to anyone's collection. Next up in the running is this model. This is a John Deere 344L. This is a high lift plus unit, so supposedly it has a longer boom or stick section, and unfortunately this is as high as the bucket goes, and that's as far as it tips. As you can see, there's still more hydraulics left open, and here there's just not enough hydraulics. But other than that, it does have engine bay functions. So that door, as well as this door, opens. This shows the John Deere air clean cooling system. And one thing I have done with this machine is I have removed 2 pins on both sides of the bucket, so this bucket can be removed. And I have made some attachments such as a ingleable snowplow and a snow pusher that can be mounted to this unit. Overall, I think it's a good mid-size loader. It's not the most detailed you'll ever find out there. There's certainly better ones, but as far as John Deere goes and Ertl, this is okay. So let me just get the next models ready. Alright, so our next machine in the collection here is the John Deere 210G, which is a mid-size excavator right in the middle class. One thing you may have noticed with this is a clean out bucket. I've scratch built this from aluminum, and please don't mind the nails, I still have to cut them to length. And this is the standard bucket it comes with. These are the original pins that were holding the bucket in place. So I still have that and can pin the old bucket into place whenever wanted. Overall, solid model. There's just little things like this is some access from the molding process, but it still has good hydraulic lines. Again, wish the pins were painted. That's going to be a given for all these Ertl models. Tracks, they could have used a little bit less because there's quite a bit of sag, but this does have that advantage of an opening roof or opening bay for the viewing of the engine. So overall, it's a clean model. Looks good sitting alongside all other mid-size excavators. Nothing super extraordinary about it, but it's still a good addition to a collection. Alright, so next up here is the Cat 323FL. So I got this model as basically I wanted my first Diecast Masters machine, and I figured I want an excavator with a thumb. I wanted it to be mid-size, so this was the obvious choice. and I can say I'm quite impressed. When I received it, it was again in the reusable tin, packaged with high quality materials, and in perfect condition. It's got everything from an operator to detailed hydraulic lines to hydraulic covers, and even small graphics, and even lifting points are casted in. So overall, I think this is a great addition to the collection. I'm hoping to pick up more Diecast Masters items in the future, but this is what I have for now. Even these metal handrails, very impressed with. Just a great addition. Next up is a fairly newish, within the last year or two, model. This is the John Deere 345 GLC. So this has a low counter swing, or rear end swing, or even some would call it a no rear end swing unit. I picked this up again to add to the Deere collection, but also as a bridge between mid-size to large size. So this is a fairly good sized unit. One thing I don't know if this is just with my model, it does have a bit of a wobbly base, which may be helped by if I tighten up the screw. But again, as you'll see in other reviewers, there is issues with it, such as opening compartments that don't open, and the handrails do look a little thick, but most of the casting looks good. I do like this large bucket with a fair amount of good teeth, and this machine does have enough stability to fully reach out. So, and there's also very nice graphics on the back that portray the Deere logo, and some compartments to access things such as hydraulics and cooling systems. So, they also model the Backhoe camera here. So, this is a good unit to obtain, especially if you collect low counterswing units. I believe Diecast Emporium has a video talking about this, or mentions it in a video. And I do agree with him on some of his points, where I feel like it was a little rushed with the release before Christmas. So, but still a good model. Especially if you're a starting off collector. Alright, so next we'll be getting into the fairly, I would say, mid to large sized equipment, borderline mining equipment. So this of course won't be mining equipment, but this is the John Deere 850K. This was, again, one of my first models. If you've owned Erdl machines with tracks, you'll know these can be a pain, and especially on this model. I found it easy to, especially if you're just going to leave it on a shelf, gluing, if you have a problem set of links here, just a dab of super glue will help keep it together. This one has the lifting cab and opening compartment door on the other side. But this is a 50K LGP, so this is a low ground pressure unit. It has quite wide footprint to prevent ground compaction. Ground compaction. It has a toe drawbar for pulling things such as, like, you could put a sheep's foot roller behind it or other things. This, of course, has a 6-way wide blade. This one has a fairly good range of motion. It goes up, and except it has a okay range of tilt. It has a good range of angle, and it can also dig fairly deep. Overall, I think this is a fairly good model, especially if you were to put this next to a D6, D7. This would be a good size comparison for that. And just to show, again, size comparison, this is a Kenworth T880 dump truck for size comparison. This is no small dozer, this is a fairly large dozer in the John Deere lineup. Anyways, so now we're going to start breaking into quarry/mine category. So, first of all, I have a model here which I feel like is very underrated and not looked at enough. This is a Komatsu WA500 wheel loader. This is a very, very good model by Komatsu, I think. Other than I had one issue, this simulated hydraulic cylinder, if my camera focuses, the simulated hydraulic cylinder did pop out, but it's a simple plug back in and put a small dab of super glue on it. So, and one thing I was talking about with the Komatsu dozer, these are soft rubber, so these do not break, these antennas. Overall, I think it's a very sharp model. This is as high as it goes. So if we bring in a dump truck here, it will just get over the side, and it does look okay dumping. I do have another dump truck we'll get to later in the video, and it looks good, I think, loading that. But I like that they have painted down below. We have the swing stop bar for mechanics, painted stairways, just all around this machine. Especially with this back grill grate, this is all plastic mesh with a fan behind it. It's hard to see, but there you can see it better. Just amazing. These are plastic handrails, so you do have to be cautious of that, along with the mirrors. But everything's painted like rivets and ends of hydraulics, as well as the bottom is fairly detailed. So this is a very nice model, I think, and this would make a great addition to anyone's large loader collection. One machine I think is comparable in size to this machine is the John Deere 850L. So this is one of John Deere's larger units. Let me just move the Komatsu out of the way here. So this is one of John Deere's larger units. They go up all the way to 944K, which will be their largest. So this is a very beefy loader. As you can see, we're into 2 cylinders for the bucket. And this is quite a large bucket, which I believe comes fairly standard with this machine. This one has a shorter overall length, which is why they have room for the bucket. of that size. One thing again, with all Ertl models, I wish these were metal and smaller, but again, what do you expect? It's Ertl. That's the highest it goes, and that's full tilt forward, full tilt back. But again, it's, if you're into Deere equipment like I am, I'm willing to sacrifice detail, some detail, to have Deere equipment in my collection. Unfortunately, this ladder setup here, all the way right here, is plastic, but it's a okay color match. It could be better, but it's not the worst thing you've ever seen. So yeah, next up we'll have some small, or I guess you could say large excavators and large loaders and large dump trucks and dozers. So I'll go ahead and get those all got around for you. Alright, so the next item in the collection here is the John Deere 470G LC. So this is my large excavator in my collection. I'm hoping to add more soon, but this is what I have for now. Overall, this is a fairly good model. Again, there's imperfections about it, and especially with the track system, but still looks good next to other large excavators. This is similar to the 210G with the opening access hatch. This one has a good range of motion. The only thing is, over time, these hydraulic rams have weakened, which is an unfortunate thing, but it still looks good posed as such. It can also fold up into a good transport position. Overall, I think, again, this is okay. It's John Deere product, so I think if John Deere had it their way, they would make it more detailed and better. But again, Ertl is trying to balance between what can kids play with and what will look good on a shelf. If you go on Amazon and look at reviews for these, you have parents on there complaining that it fell apart 5 minutes after they got out of the box. But then you have model collectors saying that, oh no, you can see the rivets and the tracks don't stay together and function won't good enough. So it's a balancing act that Ertl's trying to play, and it seems like it's a lose-lose situation. Alright, so next in the large machine category, I'm going to go ahead and get this unit out of the way here. This is the John Deere 460E, rock truck, haul truck, articulated dump truck, whatever you want to call it. This is my only haul truck right now. This, overall, I think is a fairly good model, exceptional at least. It has a nice detailed engine. It has lots of opening compartment features, such as both sides of this and the hood. One thing is, I don't know if you can see it, but in the rock truck suspension there are springs in there, real metal springs. They do not have any function, but it's a nice touch. You can see the hydraulics or rams sticking through, and of course this unit does have a good range of dump function. So it's got that going for it. And it's also just a nice big piece. And it looks fairly clean. One thing that John Deere did do is, if you look and see here, this angle is not because it's fully resting. This is just part of the design. John Deere has done away with that, and they've actually listened to the operators and made a level surface now, because loader operators were having trouble with a uneven loading surface. So it's good to hear John Deere's listening to real life operators and taking what they say seriously. So it's good to hear. You may have heard me mention the 944K earlier, and here it is again. So this is, to my knowledge, the largest John Deere wheel loader John Deere makes. This is borderline quarry mining size wheel loader. It's not absolutely massive like some Cat and Komatsu loaders, but it's a good size loader. So this is the John Deere hybrid, 944K hybrid. This does have, again, same detailing as some of the other loaders. That compartment opens, these open. But one thing this has that the others don't is this top part opens so that you can open this. So this is a fan cooling package. If you can't see in there, there's modeled fan blades. So, and that's one thing that they like to advertise on these payloaders is their cooling systems. This one overall has some of the best functionality out of all of them. As you can see, it has great height, and you can see it's lowering low, but it'll stop and at a good height, and it also has a good dumping angle. So if we bring back the 460E, I believe that these two machines look great together, especially if you're a Deere guy or girl. These are two good models to have together. Again, there could be more detailing right here, and smaller handrails, better ways of fastening the handrails to the catwalks and stuff like that, but it's a good unit to add to your collection if you collect large quarry loaders and stuff like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab the next two machines to finish out the large equipment category. Alright, so next here I have two John Deere 1050Ks. These are, to my knowledge, the largest dozer that John Deere makes. Currently in production, these are fairly large dozers. These, I don't know if they would be quite as big, but D8, D9 size, if we're comparing to Cat. This does have a fairly good range of functions, and these tracks, these single grousers, I haven't had any troubles with them so far. Alright, so as I was saying, this does have a good amount of function. Opening doors and a functional one shank ripper. This is a good heavy model. One thing, if you notice, there is a little color variation between these two. So this is a standard Erdl 1050K. This is a Erdl 1050K that has been weathered at the factory. So it is shows dust, particulate. Unfortunately, no wear, but it still looks like it's been sitting on a lowboy for the last 15 miles of dusty road. Sorry for my squeaky chair. I'll fix that one day. So this came in a set, and we will now be going into trucks and trailers. This came in a set with this Freightliner, John Deere brand Freightliner semi-truck with a non-functioning drop axle that's stuck in the down position, and wherever this wavy mudguard setup is, and this badly done fifth wheel plate. It does have a headache rack with a painted lights, but if you're a Freightliner fan and you want something like this in your collection, or this makes it a really good first semi-truck because it does come with a lowboy. So this is your standard XL Specialized 110 HDG lowboy, and this again has been weathered along with every other piece in this set. It does come with a oversized load sign for the back, and this is designed to carry the 850 or the 1050. Pardon me. So this was actually my second lowboy setup. So my first one, which I got a month or two ago. I'm a little apologize again for the squeaky chair. So my first semi truck was this Kenworth T880 with a steerable pusher axle. It goes up and down, so this is it in the up position and in the down position. Amazing metal headache rack with oversized load sign and actual lights. Nice. That's just, I don't have that screwed in enough, that's why it's moving. Nice anglable, or you add them, stacks. Doors do open, hood opens. One thing I was a little disappointed about is this rear axle has so much steer. That is as far as it goes. It's part of the design somehow. I was expecting more of steering like this in my other T880, but unfortunately I was let down on this one. This is in fact my second one of these trucks. I did receive one, but a horn was broken off, and the horn itself was broken into 3 separate pieces. So I don't know how that happened, but I'll just put it out there. This is the second one I sent that old one back and reordered. So with this, I ordered this trailer right here. It's the same trailer, except not weathered. This one has a extendable gooseneck on it. I do keep chains in these small cubbies, and this one did come with some tag axles. That's what I call them. So these are for heavy weight loads. It comes with a single axle and a dual axle. So I thoroughly enjoy this setup and how it looks together. I think it looks very sharp, especially if one of those, that Komatsu excavator on it. It's just a fine looking setup. So next in the lineup is going to be probably the last two items in this introduction slash update tour. So first is this Western Star concrete truck. So this is Ertl branded, but basically Diecast Masters made. So it came in an Ertl. It said the box said Ertl on it, but the box was no different than the Diecast Masters box I received my T880 in. This has a opening hood, so you can see in. Nice engine in there. And of course, we have a spinning drum for the concrete. One thing I do like about this is this functionality of this. One thing I was not expecting is this piece right here is actually a removable extension that fits right over that. See if I can do it right now. Take some concentration to get it just right and not break anything. So this is a extension for your chute for concrete. This does have a good amount of detailing. Of course, it has your basic like rubber mud flaps, and this would be your water tank for water for the concrete mixer. This has ladder, some soft plastic handrails. One thing I am disappointed about is in there, that's just a solid plastic piece. There's no hole, and no hole in the top of the chute either. So, if they did remake it, that was something I would like to see. But there's textured surface there, and it's overall a nice piece. Around me, it's not very common to see rear discharge concrete trucks, but this is still an exceptional model, especially for a Western Star machine. And this is the range of turning, so there's basically no range of turning. Next and last for this tour slash whatever you want to call it at this point is the Western Star triaxle dump truck. So it's the same overall basic cab, same engine, and the work tool is basically different. So this one has a hitch. Unfortunately, it's not of the highest quality and modeling spec. It's just a hook. It does have a good metal box on it. This one, as you can tell, is just your standard square box. That grain door does not open. I believe this, from what I can see, it looks like this tarp unfolds. I have not done that because it would be a pain to put it back together. But if you so please, I believe this tarp unfolds. We have some simulated painted wood up here. We have a steerable drop axle. This one does have a little bit better steering angle, but it's not to the angle of that T880. And one thing, this has a interesting dump system. So that's as high as it goes. So you can kind of get the thing to stay open. But the main part is that moves in there to give it a range. And these are two pieces of different colored plastic as cylinder jackets, which gives it a fairly jerky motion. Of course, being a drop axle truck, this is supposed to stay in the up position, but that system is flawed a little. At first it did, but it wore out quickly. So, overall, I superbly love this T880. Even though it's not a tri-axle, it is still amazing model to add to your collection. So that's gonna be it for this collection viewing. If you made it this far, thanks for watching, and I hope there'll be more videos coming in the future. Have a good one, y'all.